College Chimbits fan going live on YouTube. Okay, today I'm going to upload the story of Rescue 911 where Samantha saves her dad and she's 6 years old. Her dad goes into diabetic shock. It's called Rescue 911, ski heart puncture, and insulin shock dad.
Loading video, please wait.
Well, Mrs. Walker?
I think this is Walker, Texas Ranger.
You better believe it, Cowboy.
Ending.
I'm not going to let you off.
Today on Rescue 911, terror on the mountain, an icy slope and a terrible accident.
Volume 41. Volume 42
is in trouble.
Rescuers fight the cold to save a life from a snowy grave. Then, a father comes home and goes into diabetic shock. His little girl may be his only chance for survival. On Rescue 911.
When a life is on the line, every heartbeat and each passing second is precious. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of courageous battles to survive and the heroes who try to make a difference on Rescue 911. We begin early on the morning of March 4th, 1989, in the snow-covered mountains above Great Barrington, Massachusetts, as ski instructors Louis Alessio and his 52-year-old wife Marty set out to enjoy their first run of the day.
Marty and I started skiing 20 years ago, and we've been doing it ever since.
Where do you want to go this time?
Oh, we'll go down that hatch.
Okay.
It's just an enjoyable thing for the two of us to do. But that's an important part of our life, because Marty and I do things together, and we have always. Nut Hatch is our favorite trail. We like to ski the edges, Marty on the right, I on the left. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her start to fall, and you fall a lot when you're skiing. You slide along and eventually come to a stop, but she kept sliding. I was worried that she had broken her back. I worried she had broken her neck and she wouldn't walk anymore. I looked at her, her eyes were open, her mouth was open. In that little time, I just couldn't believe how cold she was. I just couldn't believe that this had happened. I kept telling myself, don't lose your cool. She needs you now more than anything. The only thing I said to her was, Marty, please don't leave me now. When we continued, things in my head were going, what am I going to do? Because we've been married for 32 years and we're a team. I don't want to lose my partner.
Joe Mosa, head of the Butternut Basin Ski Patrol, immediately rushed to the scene.
a ski instructor had hit a tree, I expected to see a glory mess when I got there.
Jeff, don't direct traffic.
I didn't find what I expected. Marty was not bleeding at the time. There was no blood.
Okay, Marty, so, Marty, I'm going to feel your neck. Can you feel that at all, Marty?
At that time, I started my initial survey.
On your arm, can you feel it? Does it hurt at all, Marty?
When I felt the stomach area was very, very hard and pulsating, which meant we had some internal bleeding. At that time, I became very, very worried that if we didn't get her off the hill in a hurry, that we may lose her.
You, gather ski patrol.
At that time, I felt that it would be better to have Lou off the hill. So I told him to go down to the ski patrol room and get ready to assist down there when Marty came off the hill.
It was hard for me to leave her, but I felt that she was in good hands with the ski patrolman. As I started down the mountain, I had a very difficult time trying to ski. My legs were just like rubber. Things in my head were going, what am I going to do? Because we've been married for 32 years and, we're a team. And I don't want to lose my partner.
Okay, move it out. Tell me out.
It took us less than 8 minutes to make our exam backboard Marty, get around the toboggan and take her down to the waiting ambulance.
At the base of the mountain, they were met by EMT Mary Berryhill.
Are you awake? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, good. Okay, let's get her in the ambulance.
Okay,
It's
on
gonna
my
be
count.
very cold.
1, 2, 3.
Her breathing, her facial expression, she looked frightened, and her inability to breathe enough so that she could speak words told me that this lady was in trouble.
Marty was rushed to Fairview Hospital, a small facility close to the slopes, for treatment. En route, her condition continued to deteriorate.
Okay, we're on. 1, 2, 3.
She had all the signs pointing to a very, very serious injury.
What's going on, guys?
Surgeon George Venagler was called in to examine her.
She had no breath sounds on the left side of her chest, which indicated that she probably had a collapsed lung from the trauma.
Let's see what we got. Okay. She's got a whole bunch of broken ribs here.
I was very suspicious at that point that she had a fractured spleen simply because she had a lot of broken ribs on the left side.
We'll go into the OR.
Just before Marty was taken to surgery, her son Chuck was allowed to see her.
Hi, Mom. I told her that I loved her, and I asked her to squeeze my hand just to let me know that she was listening to me and to let her know that I was there. And she responded by squeezing my hand, which was a very, very comforting for me because my mom was still there. She wasn't just a body laying on the table. She was fighting.
I realized that we were going to do a major procedure and I needed a helping hand. But my associate was away that weekend, so the only doctor that was available to help me was Dr. Nanio, the gynecologist.
Knife, please. We're starting. Let's get going now.
Her spleen was normal. However, the diaphragm was bulging into the abdomen, and it became very obvious to me that she had a lot of blood on the right side of her chest.
Okay? Just going to explore here.
Where did it happen?
Friends and family waited for word of Marty's condition.
I'm thinking, this can't be happening. I'm thinking this is a dream. Why would this happen to my mother? She's the nicest person in the world. She's a good skier. There's no reason for it to be happening to someone like this.
A lot of things were going through my mind. What if she had a real major chest injury? We don't do this type of surgery at Fairview Hospital. So in the back of my mind, I thought, well, maybe I should send the patient to another bigger institution where they do heart cases every day and it's a daily routine for them. But then I thought it over again. I said, well, if I send her anywhere else, she'll be dead.
Okay, there's a lot of blood in the right chest.
We saw a pulmonary artery laceration. We put a clamp right into that, and we got the bleeding controlled. Then I opened the sac around her heart because there was blood around her heart. And once we opened the sac, it became very obvious that a piece of the rib that was broken poked a hole in her heart.
I think that's what caused the hole in her heart.
And at that point I thought, okay, we can fix this. She's going to make it. It's going to be okay. But as we were doing that, she had a cardiac arrest.
So, she's fibrillating, and let's have the paddle.
I requested to get the internal paddles. They said, what internal paddles? We don't do any open heart surgery at Fairview.
Everybody clear.
It was a situation like MASH, a situation where we needed a lot of resources and some things that were not available, and we had to do what we had to do with what we've got.
Hi, I'm Dr. Vanderbilt.
I am Marty's husband. Dr. Venaglu came in and he looked at me and he said, I don't think she's going to make it. She's got a hole in her heart this big.
We sewed it up, but she arrested several times, and I'm not sure exactly what's going to
Dr.
happen.
Venable, when you are staff.
When Dr. Venaglu left the room, I says, that's it. She must have died, and I've lost her. A nurse came in and told us that they'd like to have us go to the meditation room.
You're there, so if you just gather up your things and follow me.
That's the point that I thought, well, this is where they're going to tell us the news, you know, that I've lost my wife. A nurse came in and said, we thought you'd be more comfortable here because you're going to be right by Marty. She's right down the hall in the intensive care. And with that, I had a big sigh of relief.
Over the next 2.5 weeks, Marty slowly recovered, but she cannot forget how close she came to dying.
I remember I saw an operating table from a distance, and I couldn't see anyone's faces, but I knew that it was me on that table somehow, and I knew I had just died. And I just sort of felt, no, I'm not gonna die. And then it was gone. The scene was gone, just as quickly as it appeared. Then the next thing that I remember is waking up.
It was very hard thinking about losing Marty. What goes through my mind now is, especially when they run up to Grandma and give her a big hug and a kiss, you know, that makes me probably most appreciative that she's still around to enjoy all that, because I wouldn't want it the other way.
There's a baby in there somewhere. Yeah, there is.
Miracles are made. Miracles don't happen. And Dr. Venaglu and his staff made this miracle. He's probably the best man I've ever met in my whole life. I owe him the biggest debt of gratitude. He could ask me any favor in the world and I'd do it for him. I'd probably do it 10 times over. Doesn't matter what it is.
For me to stop skiing would be like not breathing, so it was natural for me to go back to skiing.
We feel that skiing is a very safe sport. This was just a freak accident.
No, it's yummy.
Hey, how you feeling?
Good. I feel great.
Cold?
So good to be back up here. I could sit in a rocker for the rest of my life, and I would probably be safe, but that's not living. Going out and skiing is living. That's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to keep doing. I want a hot chocolate. You owe me.
Okay, I owe you a hot chocolate.
Yeah.
That's a deal.
Okay.
Next.
Insulin shock can rapidly progress to a complete coma, and if there's not sugar administered, the patient will die.
Johnny Cash is all new this week.
Day. Call 1-800-600-2207 to speak with a licensed insurance agent. That's 1-800-600-2207. 1-800-600-2207.
Extra, extra. It's the Get TV newsletter featuring star interviews, fun facts, and schedule highlights. Sign up today at get.tv.
On June 10th, 1992, in Federal Way, Washington, 6-year-old Samantha Barth had been looking forward all day to spending the afternoon with her father. But on that day, the time she thought that they'd spend together did not turn out as she had hoped.
My daddy picked me up from the daycare, and he was driving fast, and he was going on lanes that he wasn't supposed to be on. When we got home, he was just sitting in the car. Dad, come on. I had to get out and pull him out. You alright? I didn't know what was happening to Daddy, and he was acting real weird. Daddy, I think it's time for something to eat. Sometimes my daddy has problems with his blood sugar. He's diabetic, so I thought I should give him something to eat. Go get you something to eat. I climbed up on the chair to get the oranges and the chips. I thought about honey, but I said no, it's too much of a mess. I tried giving him an orange.
No, honey, I don't like them.
But he wouldn't eat it. He said he didn't like them, but he really does. Dad, you're sweaty. My mom told me that he always got to check his wrist to see if he's sweaty or not. If he's sweaty, he's either low or high. And so I just had to save his life.
Address of the problem? Fire Department Medic 1, what is the address?
Hi, my address, I gotta go outside for my address, okay?
That's okay, hon. Is it from where you're calling?
I'm at my house.
Okay, and that's where the problem is?
Yeah.
What's the matter?
I think my daddy's low. He's a diabetic.
You think he's low?
Federal Way Fire Dispatcher Pat Everett took the call.
When she told me that she thought her daddy was low, that he's a diabetic, the first thing I was thinking was, I hope he's not truly unconscious and that this man needs CPR.
Is he awake?
No.
He's not awake?
No.
How old are you?
I'm 6 and a half.
You're 6 and a half? Are you there by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, can you go over there and shake your daddy and see if he'll wake up? You go shake him. I have help on the way, but don't hang up.
Rescue units were immediately dispatched, including King County paramedic Chris Merritt.
Insulin shock can rapidly progress to a complete coma, and if there's not sugar administered orally or intravenously, the patient will die.
Shake him hard. Okay, you go do that. Come back to the phone.
It's scary being all alone with your daddy and nobody with you when he's low on sugar.
Pat relayed information to the medic units en route as another dispatcher took over the call.
Okay, Samantha, listen carefully now. The 8 car is on the way over there already. They'll be right there to see you, okay? You did a good job, honey. Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Within 3 minutes of the call, the first rescue units arrived on scene.
When the medics came, I was hoping they would make him feel better.
Lieutenant Robert Stinnett, an EMT, took charge.
When we arrived at the scene, it was just at the point where he was going to start to be more critical.
We're going to give him some glucose right now. Thanks. Okay, Nels, we're going to put some glucose in your mouth. Can you hear me all right? Okay, open your mouth, all right?
He was able to take a little bit of that, but obviously he was still too far out that he needed more medical attention than that.
Moments later, the advanced life support unit arrived.
Hi, this is Nels.
We knew what the problem was, but we needed to confirm it.
This is down pretty low.
We found his blood sugar to be at 20, which is extremely low, dangerously low, in fact. A normal blood sugar is about 120.
Nels, we're going to give you some medicine through your vein here.
So we administered 2 doses of D50W, which is a highly concentrated sugar solution.
Waking up and all there, buddy? Nels, waking up? How you doing, buddy?
And within just minutes, he was alert and oriented and thanking us for waking him up.
We gotta get you some food, so get your sugar up.
Yeah. The problem I had that day definitely threw me for a loop. I knew there was something wrong, but I had mistaken having low blood sugar for just being fatigued and tired.
Samantha was just fabulous. She saw that Daddy was in an obvious diabetic state. He was having a crisis. She assessed the situation and took immediate action. She's 6.5-year-old. She's 1 in a million.
They fixed him all up, and then it was all over with. And I laid down on the couch, and I went to sleep, and then Mommy came home.
The fire department later presented Samantha with an award for saving her father's life.
To think that a 6-year-old can pick up a phone and dial 911 and be able to explain the symptoms of a disease, I think is amazing. I'm very proud of Samantha.
Here we are. Look at them. They're out of the water. Oh, here, I can see better.
I'm surprised that Samantha reacted the way she did and obviously relieved. I think pride in my daughter is almost an understatement there.
Just because they're children doesn't mean that they cannot react in the face of an emergency. They're a lot more receptive than we think they are, and we don't give them enough credit.
I'm happier than anything in the whole entire world because I saved my daddy's life, and I love him infinity.
I heard that that diabetic insulin shock dad that he passed away, Nels, and he passed away from complications of diabetes years later. And I heard that the daughter, when she grew up, she became a nurse. So I think Samantha would make a good nurse. But, I mean, I don't think the dad got diabetes because he had a weight problem, because, I mean, he did not look like he had a weight problem at all. I mean, the daughter looked a little heavy set, but the father didn't look like he had a weight problem. But, I mean, it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. What matters is the inside of a person. So the inside of Samantha matters. Hit the big red button and subscribe. Peace out, YouTube.